Let's talk about rigging elections. Donald Trump continues to push these claims that the election is rigged against him. He's suggesting widespread voter fraud. The conspiracy media has been absolutely loving it. I mean, they've just been eating from Trump's hand on this issue. And I've alluded to the inconvenient reality for Donald Trump that this is an accusation heavily against Republican governors and legislatures in many cases. Only 17 states in the United States right now and Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, have Democratic-controlled electoral systems. So Donald Trump may believe the only way he could possibly lose is because millions of dead people vote, or there's vote rigging going on, or people in the states that are overseeing the elections are somehow rigging it against Trump. But it's mostly an attack on Republicans, if that is indeed what Donald Trump believes is going to happen. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, 26 states have an elected Secretary of State or Lieutenant Governor who oversee the elections, and 7 more of those officials share authority with a commission or board, which also is either bipartisan or sometimes Republican-controlled. Then you have 8 more states that have a chief official selected by a legislature or governor. The rest are run by some kind of appointed electoral commission. So when you take a step back and you say, okay, the election's rigged, so says Trump. Number one, he's basically alleging that elected boards, bipartisan commissions, etc., somehow it's all rigged. It's Republicans and Democrats working together. And then in many cases, you're talking about secretaries of state or lieutenant governors that are Republicans that would be the ones who are rigging it against Trump. Now, I know that the Republican Party in recent days and recent weeks has not been thrilled with Donald Trump in many ways, but to suggest that there is a broader rigging going on here suggests that it is really Republicans by and large that are rigging the election against Donald Trump. In total, 29 states have Republican-controlled election processes, and that represents 302 electoral votes. So Republican officials alone represent more than the necessary 270 electoral votes that are required to be elected president of the United States. If the election is rigged, Republicans have rigged it. And in fact, this election is, as I've said many times, it's mostly decided, and it's going to come down to a few swing states. And those swing states are really under Republican control. I mean, we're talking about Florida, Iowa, Nevada, where I'm broadcasting from today, North Carolina, Ohio. These are all overseen by Republican chief election officials. Even Trump's own close advisors are trying to push back against the rigged election stuff. Trump's national campaign co-chair, Sam Clovis, told the Boston Herald 2 days ago, "I have a lot of faith in the secretaries of state across the country," when he was asked about the entire election is rigged thing. Trump's own running mate, Mike Pence, said a few days ago that the campaign will accept the results of the election and that the only, quote, sense of a rigged election came from the obvious bias in the national media. That's not rigging an election, by the way. Here are actual ways in which elections are, in a sense, rigged, for using a word that Trump uses. Gerrymandering is an epidemic, right? The strategic drawing of congressional districts, most recently to help Republicans by Republicans, that is an unfair rigging of the process, if you want to use that word. Voter suppression by restricting early voting hours, and in other ways as well, in traditionally, historically, disproportionately Democratic minority areas. If you want to find some kind of rigging, that's a way in which you could argue there is rigging going on. And I could go on, but bottom line, what Trump is saying is, number one, unproven, and number two, if true, mostly the fault of the Republicans that are in charge.